that I would rather us not have. I'd love to send those guys home. They're not even doing targeted immigration enforcement. They are trying to protect ICE officers who are doing immigration enforcement, because when a crowd surrounds them and these guys call 911, the local officials, the local cops have been told to stand down. So we have people here who aren't even doing immigration enforcement. They're doing force protection, so that if a rioter tries to ruin the life or assault an ICE officer, they're actually protected.
Are you okay? I'm fine. All right. Where's the local PD? That's my question for the press. Okay. Where is the local PD?
What's your message to the local PDs?
Welcome back to Unaffiliated Mind. And today I want to discuss something, because in my last video I made mention of something that it didn't bother me, but I found out more information about it as I continued to, look further into it. And I made a comment about, the Minneapolis riots incidents right now that pointed to a deeper issue, and it's worth unpacking. Essentially, we're talking about the state of local law enforcement. Now, after revisiting the data, it's clear that Minneapolis has experienced a steady decline in police staffing since the George Floyd protests, riots. Now, for me, this exposes a broader pattern: how mass protests and emotionally charged slogans, once amplified by mainstream media and social media, and is still ongoing to this day, can translate into long-term policy consequences. Now, it often gets overlooked at times, from the left side of the aisle, I would say, are the communities that are left behind with rapid unvetted policy shifts, which many are rooted in progressive ideologies that borrow elements from, Marxist, communist, or anarchist theory. And fundamentally, it reshapes a local governance. Now, I want to play a clip of Tommy Lahren and retired Lieutenant Randy Sutton to kind of frame this discussion. Let's go ahead and dive in.
That has been degraded so badly in the last 5 years or so. So there's a lot of issues at play here, Tommy. And one of them is, of course, the chief of police, O'Hara. He has come out basically supporting everything that Mayor Fry has to say. And Mayor Fry, of course, is much a part of the problem there in Minneapolis. He's been completely anti-law enforcement for his entire career there. He's decimated the police agency. Minneapolis PD was once a proud and very effective agency. They right now, this is incredible. They have a strength that they are supposed to have of almost 900 officers. Right now, there are about 256 patrol officers to police that entire city. Now, it's not counting admin folks, but they're down hundreds of people.
That's crazy to me when you think about that. So if Lieutenant Sutton's claim of roughly 256 on-duty patrol is accurate, that gap is staggering. And this is a clear example, or at least I'm going to conclude, that this is a clear example of how in ideology can materially weaken a city's public safety infrastructure. Let's dive in some more.
Their morale is incredibly low. They are very frustrated at what is taking place and being told to stand down from what they know is their job. And what is little known is that this week, the chief of police is supposed to find out whether he's going to be reappointed or not. So that's playing a role in the way he is doing his job as the chief of police, because he's at the end of a 3-year term, and depending on if he does what the mayor says and the city council says, that's going to determine whether or not he keeps his job.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that plays into it, but I think he's perfectly capable, just all on his own, of being the way that he is. We've been playing clips of him for months now. Well, the officers there, I mean, listen, I know that police officers are not immigration agents. Nobody expects them to be. But when you've got federal agents being attacked, being assaulted on a daily basis, you would think that their brothers in blue would be able to be there to provide them some protection and provide just really everybody some protection. It's really for everybody's safety. But from what we've been seeing on the ground there, that's not necessarily happening. What is the frustration level from the officers in Minneapolis about what they are and are not allowed to do in terms of supporting, their law enforcement brethren.
No, you hit it right on the head. In fact, that's one of the reasons that I'm up here is to, I'm up here with a team or I was up there with a team from the Wounded Blue to help these officers deal with the stress that they're going through. Well, one of those stressors is what we call moral injury. The officers there want to do the job. They want to protect the people there. They want to protect ICE because they are their law enforcement brethren, but they're basically not even engaging. There is very, very little interaction between the Minneapolis Police Department and the officers who are there upholding federal law. And of course, when you see what is taking place up there, the violence being directed at ICE and with no police supervision or presence, it exacerbates the danger for those officers and also for the public. So it's an intolerable situation. The frustration level is at a fever pitch with the officers. They want to be able to do the job that they took that police job to do, but they're not being allowed to because of the politics, because of the failed leadership of the city and, unfortunately, the police department.
Yeah, and it was less.
But, I can definitely understand that that's very frustrating to go through that. And it reinforces what I played earlier in JD Vance's, message where he talked about like local law enforcement in Minneapolis is really being told to stand down. And what we're seeing isn't just a protest. And I know we just had that breaking news come out from, I think his name is Cam, where he talked about the different type of signal groups that are out there and the coordination that they have. I would say is like what we're seeing with these riots and protests is really the erosion of an institutional order. When you think about the ideology that one politician or maybe a couple politicians, may adopt just to get the votes in. And Minneapolis offers a real world case study of where that path leads. As usual, be safe out there. Remember to please like, comment, subscribe, and share an unaffiliated mind. Have a great one, y'all. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.